Welcome to the Fly Route Pod. I'm going to cut to the chase. About 96% of y'all watching this video have not subscribed, and I need that number to go up to continue to make these videos and support the channel. So slam that subscribe button on your screen right now and hit the notification bell. And while I have you, I want to give a shout out to my sponsors at mybookie.ag. Mybookie.ag is the best place for you to get your sports betting on. MyBookie.ag has live in-game betting on every NFL game for my diehard cappers and prop bets such as the over-under on fantasy points. Use promo code FLY and receive a 100% match on your first deposit up to $1,000. That's double your money to double your winnings with your first ever deposit using promo code FLY. Welcome to the tee off.
Ooh, spill that tea, sis.
This is how I like to start the show off. I like to spill some tea on our favorite athletes and some of the crazy situations they get themselves into. And this week, we got to spill tea on not just a single athlete, but the entire quarterback room of the Denver Broncos last year. So that's Drew Lock, Blake Bortles, Jeff Driscoll, and that's probably where anybody who pays any attention, even a lot of attention, would have stopped on knowing the depth chart for the Broncos quarterbacks. But also Brett Rapine. And look, everybody might remember this, and that is last year where the Denver Broncos played the New Orleans Saints and had to start a practice squad wide receiver. Not a practice squad quarterback, but a practice squad wide receiver at quarterback in a game. He only completed one of his 9 passes for 13 yards through 2 picks, and the Denver Broncos got absolutely rocked by the New Orleans Saints 31-3. Now, this was an embarrassing moment for the NFL in general, a super embarrassing moment for the Denver Broncos, of course, and it was kind of a mystery at the time why the NFL allowed the Baltimore Ravens, who had a COVID outbreak a little bit earlier that same week, postpone their game, but did not allow the Denver Broncos to do the same. And this is actually something that we talked about a little bit on the Fly Route podcast when it first happened. We heard the rumors and allegations that in some which way or form, the Denver Broncos were trying to skirt the COVID protocols, were not upfront and forthcoming with the investigation that the NFL put into place. And we also heard that the NFL ended up having to use surveillance footage from the practice facility to verify the close contacts that caused them to lose their entire quarterback room. And at that time, I was like, look, if it had to go that far, clearly Denver did something pretty wrong, which I will get to in just a second here. But more importantly, deserved every single bit of it. And even then, I was on that side. But now when we find out exactly what happened with the Denver Broncos, I am doubly on that side. Like, what a disaster this organization had to deal with. And it actually made a lot of decisions that the Denver Broncos made after that season really come into perspective. So, quarterback Jeff Driscoll had COVID. He was positive. And then the other 3 quarterbacks that the Denver Broncos had were deemed as close contact. That's Drew Lock, Blake Bortles, and Brett, who we will no longer talk about because he's not very relevant. Now, the reason why, though, is because they were obviously around each other without masks based off how the NFL protocol works. So recently on the Los Angeles Times, the report came out where we found out exactly what the Denver Broncos did. So all 4 guys, Drew Lock, Jeff Driscoll, Blake Bortles, and co., took their COVID tracing devices, went into a room to watch film, and put the devices in the 4 separate corners of the room while they watched film sitting at a table together. Like, they couldn't spend an hour sitting, I guess, 6 feet apart. Not sure how big this room was, but they couldn't spend an hour sitting 6 feet apart watching film. So they decided to try to trick the system. And then when they got caught, because I don't know, it is oddly fucking weird for you to be in a film session where the people are sitting in 4 different corners. Where's the TV at? Like, I don't know what originally prompted the NFL to be as thorough as they were in this investigation, but what ended up happening is they did not want to come forward. The Denver Broncos were very shady. All the quarterbacks in the room decided to actively lie about the situation and try to obfuscate the NFL investigation. This is actually the main reason why the NFL did not allow them to postpone the game, even though John Elway pleaded, according to the Los Angeles Times, multiple times with Roger Goodell. But obviously this makes a lot of sense. You got caught trying to skirt the protocol actively for really not even a good reason. Like, what did you have to gain sitting directly next to each other for like an hour in a small room during a film watching session? Like, what is the risk reward matrix of the quarterbacks in this room? And all 4 of them were like, yeah, let's just do it. But outside of Drew Lock and Brett, the other 2 quarterbacks in that quarterback room are gone. They obviously should have known better, and it's not surprising that they got rid of them. To me, it's also not surprising that they made that move for Teddy Bridgewater as well. So when this happened, Drew Lock said in a statement this: in a controlled and socially distanced area, we have determined that was a lie. We let our masking slip for a limited amount of time. We determined that was also a lie because you just took them off on purpose. It an honest mistake, but one I will own. It was not a mistake. It was a choice. This is just not franchise quarterback material. I mean, you've heard me talk about Drew Lock, the poor touchdown to interception ratio, the poor completion percentage ratio. Like, literally nothing about Drew Lock said, I want that guy to lead my franchise and be the most important player on the field for my team. Not surprising, given his horrible decision-making on the field, that he also had it off the field. They brought in Teddy Bridgewater, an adult. They basically cleaned house on their quarterback room. Why? Because, unsurprisingly, a room full of adults had 0 adults in it. And it cost them a game in the most embarrassing fashion possible. There's really nothing else that you need to say about this. But it did make me think a little bit about Cam Newton losing his starting job and then losing his job with the New England Patriots. How with these COVID protocols, and especially how stringent they've made it for players who are not vaccinated, that actually ends up mattering. For a backup quarterback, that actually really matters. A guy that has to be available at a moment's notice, where because one person gets it, close contacts, the quarterbacks spend a lot of time with each other, working together, watching film together, in rooms together, getting to learn the playbook with each other. Non-vaccinated player gets close contacted, you're down to your 3rd string or automatically. That guy's probably not even getting scout team reps during the season. This stuff really matters. This stuff really matters, and it will continue to matter for the rest of this season. And that was your tee off.